When I think about navigating the unfolding of the future of work, a GPS system comes to mind. A system that can get me where I need to go and where I need to be in the future, even if the path, road, or highway isn't clear or fully uploaded yet. You see, my thoughts about GPS and the future of work are rooted in the fact that I'm a Californian, born and raised. So like most Californians, I drive a lot. In fact, I can easily traverse 3 counties, 4 to 5 freeways, a toll road, and a new highway, literally in one day. In fact, I have 3 GPS apps on my phone and GPS embedded in my watch and my car. But, I'm a futurist. So I'm always looking for signs and signals to navigate the path forward. So it makes sense. You see, I'm a workforce futurist, and my expertise sits at the intersection of the future of work and artificial intelligence and its impact on organizations and people. I help leaders move through future of work strategies, and most importantly, people strategies aimed at humanizing the worker experience. I also coach executives that are leveling up and reinventing to develop future-focused leadership brands. So if you think about it, I serve as their GPS system for successfully navigating the unfolding of the future of work. Just as I use GPS to navigate my journeys across California, they want to know the number of route options, the number of miles to get there, how long it will take to arrive at their destination, and they want to be alerted of any detours, roadblocks, or other activities that might impede their path or prevent them from arriving at the right destination. And in the event of a dreaded SIG alert, they want to know how to access new lanes, accelerate around curves, and quickly access highways and exchanges to not only arrive on time, but also to bypass the congestion of competitors. Now, those of us that study the future of work knew that the most significant transformation would happen between 2020 and 2025 and would normalize around 2027. We knew the decade would be driven by Industry 4.0 technologies like the Internet of Things, AI, machine learning, virtual reality, and others. And that as the lines between technology and reality became more blurred, how we work, live, and play would be forever transformed. In an organizational context, we knew it was about combining data, technology, and people in game-changing ways to drive exponential growth. More importantly, we knew that no industry or role would go unscathed, and that most workers would need to upskill or be reprogrammed, if you will, to navigate the path forward. We also know that workers would need to be adaptive, agile, innovative, in order to work side by side with machines and robots and algorithms, and to reimagine careers, reskill, and to keep up with the pace of change. We also knew that emotional intelligence would become critically important to employers because the future of work is human. It's collaborative, multicultural, multi-generational, empathetic, and focused on worker experience. We knew EQ would also be important to employers because it enables workers to understand themselves as well as others. And it lays the foundation for the awareness and resilience that's needed to manage change, adapt to new technologies, structural shifts, remote work, human-machine relationships, and to thrive in complexity and uncertainty. Now, of course, what we didn't know about the future of work was that 2020 would usher in a worldwide pandemic that would accelerate the future of work by nearly a decade. Nearly a decade. And that most of the disruptive acceleration would take place within the first few months of the pandemic. Let's just pause there for a moment. We literally experienced nearly a decade's worth of growth and transformation in a matter of months. We did that. For most organizations navigating the disruption of COVID-19, resilience planning was at the forefront of organizational continuity, developing new business and operating models, creating new ecosystems, and fast-tracking digital transformation and remote work. Think about these examples. COVID-19 accelerated the move to telehealth in healthcare, the move to remote learning in colleges and universities, the growth of e-commerce, and it fast-forwarded the touchless economy. We watched as hotels, in response to downturns in domestic travel and the increase in remote work, rent out rooms as office space, not only in response to social distancing and the work-life balance demands of professionals, but also to create new revenue streams for the future. We watched breweries and distilleries shift from manufacturing alcohol to hand sanitizer. We watched companies re-engineer supply chains. And we watched companies adopt AI platforms at a faster pace to manage the productivity of remote workers. And people of all stripes became side-hustling creators of masks and PPE. Each of these examples are underpinned by EQ. It took EQ to think out of the box and to be adaptive, creative, and innovative in the midst of crisis. Now, going back to the GPS model for navigating the future of work, as we move through our COVID-adjusted future and its impact on work, jobs, and careers, it becomes clear that the GPS system that guided us in the past now needs a programming upgrade. It needs to be reprogrammed with EQ. And furthermore, instead of residing on an app or in a vehicle or on a watch, it needs to be easily activated as if it were embedded in our own bodies so that we can intuitively drive through the new normal of this accelerated unfolding. When we reflect back on some of our own experiences as workers during the first half of 2020, think about the power of self-awareness and resilience. If you remember, we experienced unprecedented unemployment, lived through furloughs, reduced salaries, engaged in rapid upskilling, and many workers experienced increased stress, depression, anxiety, fear, and even loneliness. And as workers migrated from the office to work from home, many worked longer hours, suffered from feelings of always being on, and experienced a new level of vulnerability by exposing how they lived to their colleagues and managers through the lens of video meeting platforms. Yet we persisted. Yes, we persisted. As you reflect on these experiences, you can begin to conceptualize how the need for emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and resilience took center stage, and why we need it as we continue to move through some of our current and future work realities. While we may not experience another pandemic and the economic impact that ensued in this decade, we will need emotional intelligence to manage through change, uncertainty, and to catalyze creativity, innovation, and growth. As we continue to journey through the future of work with this recalibrated GPS system that lets us know where we are and where we're going, remember, it's the IQ in the system that outlines the route. So we, without a doubt, absolutely need the IQ capabilities. However, the EQ embedded in the system will allow us to be more flexible, resilient, manage ambiguity, be empathetic, human-centered, develop a growth mindset, and see the world more realistically so that we can make the right decisions. You see, the EQ in the GPS will provide the sensing we need to guide our thinking and behavior as we hit toll roads, detours, or must negotiate the on-ramps and off-ramps of the new next so that we're agile enough to shift, pivot, and respond. It will enable us to harness the power of resilience to enter freeway on-ramps and exit on-ramps, even if we remember getting a speeding ticket or having a fender bender in the past on those very same freeways. You want to know why? I want to know why we'll be able to do this. Because we'll be able to look into the rear view mirror of our lives to access and download the data that reminds us of our strength and grit and how we overcame in the past when we were redirected to a new route or were met with detours or even road closures. EQ will enable us to download the data from our COVID-altered work experiences to remind us of how we shifted from performing in the office to being productive working from home, appearing on stage daily on video meeting platforms, and surviving video platform fatigue that challenged our well-being. All of this while maintaining productivity levels and balancing a myriad of competing personal priorities. Yes, we did that. Indeed, we did. Through self-awareness, we'll also be able to tap into the power of our own prior experiences, of learning new skills, new systems, processes. And I'm not saying that we'll do this without trepidation. What I am saying is that in spite of trepidation, we will be certain that as we move through the unfolding of the future of work, that we'll be able to successfully acquire and leverage the new skills and processes as we reimagine work. Let me tell you more about EQ. EQ will enable us to understand when to be flexible, shift into overdrive, and be transformed as we traverse the roads and highways of the future of work and shift from automated to cognitive systems that enable us to do the work of the future while leveraging digital fluency, decision-making, and even empathy needed to work alongside and in between, by the way, the robots, machines, and algorithms that will amplify our work. Now, let me be clear. COVID-19 absolutely had its unique set of hardships, challenges, and pain. But we learned that we are more resilient than we ever imagined, just like most organizations did. Organizations were forced to respond in new ways, and most adapted better than they imagined. They reacted, responded, and reemerged, focused on thriving on the path forward, not on recalibrating for the past. We can do the same. In fact, we must do the same. As we shift into the path forward, this upgraded GPS system that's loaded with EQ will guide us as it maps, tracks, and navigates old roads and new paths that are paved with AI, innovation, and new skill combinations, and reimagined organizations, workplaces, and jobs. This EQ will enable us to cultivate and tap into self-awareness and resilience so that we can easily activate our internal GPS system to mindfully adapt to rapid organizational change, bounce back after setbacks, and have the grit to pivot, reskill, and level up over and over again. As a futurist, I am really excited about the unfolding of the future of work and all that it will bring to when, where, why, and how we work. It'll be different. It'll be transformative, but full of possibilities. Business models and processes will be re-engineered, and AI will continue to replace routine work and tasks so that we can focus on higher level work, more meaningful work that's aligned with our passions and interests, and that enables us to solve new business problems and societal challenges. We will absolutely need IQ to accomplish this. Now, to be clear, the new recalibrated GPS system that guides us must be embedded with both IQ and EQ. In fact, the future demands it of all of us. Yes, all of us, from coders to accountants, to marketers, data scientists, to sales reps, to HR managers, and every role in between. We will need this new recalibrated GPS system that's heavily programmed with EQ to support a human-centered focus, which is at the heart of the future of work. Combining both will have a significant impact on how and when we arrive at our future destination. Some of the latest research on the future of work indicates that some of us will arrive at new and exciting destinations like data detective, personal environment designer, ethical sourcing officer, machine man teaming manager, personal memory curator, augmented reality journey builder, or even genetic diversity officer. I want you to know that the future of work is exciting and full of possibilities if we leverage our EQ to envision and build the future that we want. And by doing so, this new system will provide us with the right mapping to connect the dots of our passions and purpose, to solve new problems, catalyze possibilities, and reinvent ourselves to create a new future. What I know is that the COVID-altered future of work will continue to evolve faster. It will be more remote, more on demand, more collaborative, inclusive, and human. And that our work will largely be augmented and amplified by machines. And our EQ will be one of our most dynamic differentiators. I also know that as the future of work continues to unfold, that we must design our own careers and futures. We will all navigate the new path forward together as the future of work continues to unfold. And we can do this if we let EQ guide us. I'll leave you with a few thoughts and advantages. Number one, make sure you download and activate your new recalibrated personal GPS for the path forward. Two, let your EQ transform your mindset so that you embrace change, continuous learning, and you seek out inspiration and become more creative than you've ever been. And that believing that doing the work really pays off. This EQ-infused mindset will be your superpower. Three, be sure to let EQ navigate you to a future destination that enables you to be resilient, relevant, and bold. Four, let the EQ in your GPS system give you a strong sense of self. Let it mitigate your fears and enable you to master adaptability. And last, let it catalyze your authentic self as you dare to design and unapologetically and successfully navigate your own highways of the future so that you will arrive in the future of work at the right destination, at the right time, with the right mindset, and the ability to thrive on your terms. Thank you.